Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sonic Frontiers playthrough. And here we are again on Reya Island. One of the interesting things about the way this island is designed is that even though there's a lot of interesting stuff in the wide open spaces between the towers, most of the towers have these shortcuts that are designed to take you directly to the next tower, or at least close enough to it that you don't have to run very far. It makes it especially interesting that you have to go out of your way to see all of this detail that they put into Reya Island. But
I was very single-tracked mind when I got this place the first time because I wanted to see where they were going with the story. And normally, it's very odd to say that for a Sonic game specifically, where it's like, no, I really want to see where this is going. So just kind of.
Unfortunately, Reya Island is also where like the corruption plot sort of just stops. So like, and you know, I won't give them too much crap for how that ended because it's kind of standard kids game anime stuff. Look, the power of friendship saved the day again. It's basically the plot of Kingdom Hearts, but like, okay, you know. It just kind of ended too fast, you know? We didn't even get a sequence where Sonic gets to walk around as a Heartless for a little while. That was legitimately a really cool dramatic flourish on the part of Kingdom Hearts 1.
I think I would have been happy if there was, like, fighting from within sequence.
You know, I give Kingdom Hearts crap for its story, but Kingdom Hearts 1 did have a legitimately, like, really nice endgame. Where like the start of Hollow Bastion, which not only has like the coolest music track in the game, but you lose access to Donald and Goofy for a while, and you wind up with the Beast out of nowhere, and then you know there's that whole.
Well, Kingdom Hearts still works just fine in a bubble, until the ending, I would say.
I mean, Kingdom Hearts' plot is like really trite, but its actual story presentation is really good.
Yeah. I would agree.
Just speaking just of the first game, I have different problems with the later games, but Kingdom Hearts 1
So where to begin? That laundry list runs long.
But Kingdom Hearts 1 as a storytelling experience. Well, that's what I'm trying to get at here is that story is one thing, storytelling is another aspect of a game's narrative presentation entirely. A game can have a pretty bad story but have excellent storytelling, and a game can have a really excellent story but have really flat storytelling. It's not a complete binary.
That's a good way of putting it.
A lot of the time when people say that a game or a book or a movie has bad story, what they really mean is that it has a really weak plot. And that would apply to this game. This game does not have much plot. You find out about the bad guy. The bad guy escapes because they tricked you into killing its seal, and then you have to go fight the bad guy. That's the entire plot, you know? But there's a lot of interesting lore and character development stuff going on alongside that really weak plot that kind of holds up the story. But at the same time, the story presentation is very hit or miss.
Yeah.
Like, scenes like this are good.
Yeah, I would say the most interesting thing about this game's story is the lore behind it, not so much the actual story itself.
Yeah. But, like, I also like how they just blatantly copied Sailor Moon for the final boss, but, you know.
Sonic, did you dive into the tar pit again?
He's got that gamer stink on him.
This is exactly how I look and feel after I finish a video game. I'm just covered in flickering static residue, and I can't move because I've been sitting in a chair for 3 weeks. Like,
Baja Blast. I'm like,
I forgot to eat my last 20 meals because I hit the end game of Skyrim and just couldn't put it down.
Just one more hour.
Well, I don't know. Is the end game of Skyrim's forgetting to eat worthy? Is it good enough that you forget your meals? I'm not sure.
You see, this is why I like when Final Fantasy 14, when you're doing MSQ, we'll just give you a prompt saying, as this quest begins, a series of cutscenes will play in sequence. It's recommended that you put time away to view these cutscenes in full. When I see that prompt, I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to get myself a burrito.
Yeah, but they do that because they know a lot of players are cutscene impatient. And that is because of that fiasco with the last mission of 2.0. Fucking ugh.
Well, I also think it's because they also want to make sure that you're not queuing up for like a dungeon or roulette as you're watching a cutscene, which folks will do.
Yeah, that too.
But still, like when I see that prompt, I know for a fact they're like, all right, it's story time, baby. So I know exactly what I'm getting into.
It is kind of like, it's one of those things where I feel like the accepted MMORPG formula just does not work for the kind of game Final Fantasy XIV is trying to be. So they kind of have to just segregate story and gameplay a lot.
Well, it's funny you say that, and that's kind of the reason why folks like it, because it doesn't fit that mold that other MMOs around that time or before set
it
previously.
Absolutely fits the mold. It just has story sequences that awkwardly don't fit with it. How do I put this? Okay, so there's this stereotype about World of Warcraft players where nobody reads the fucking lore.
Okay. We call those high-end players.
It's not entirely true. There are plenty of World of Warcraft characters. There are plenty of, well, I'm sure the characters care about the world, but there are plenty of World of Warcraft.
You know, my favorite bit of the end game for World of Warcraft was when the final boss said TLDR.
There are plenty of World of Warcraft players who do read the lore and like to get invested in exactly why they're doing the side quests they're doing, but the game itself is built around the idea that players just want to speed through the gameplay loop and, you know, grind. And you know, that's kind of what the game's formula is built around. You know, that addictive gameplay loop of going through your dailies and your roulettes and.
So wait, so all right, so I never played WoW.
If you've played Final Fantasy XIV,
you're telling me
you've played World of
So
Warcraft.
you're telling me that WoW is not. So WoW is not very story driven.
It's plenty story driven. But you see, all right, World of Warcraft had a weird gameplay evolution in its design stages. It basically applied what was then considered a single-player format to MMORPGs. You know, the gameplay loop of World of Warcraft, as you progress through its main story and side quests, is effectively single-player RPGs, or it was at the time. The thing is, its gameplay loop sort of evolved over time so that it hit its own sort of balance within that formula, and that became the normal sort of formula for MMORPGs. Final Fantasy XIV from 2.0 onward adopted that formula. You could very accurately call the current iteration of Final Fantasy XIV World of Warcraft but better, because it's essentially based on a version of World of Warcraft that existed before World of Warcraft streamlined itself to death. So something between World of Warcraft Modern and World of Warcraft Classic, basically. The only real difference in their formula, I think, is that Final Fantasy XIV has more cutscene presentation, at least throughout, whereas World of Warcraft waited until later expansions to really do cinematic cutscenes and stuff. There was a large stretch of the game where all of the story was told in this little box in the corner. So, yeah, that's.
I ask because one thing that I hear as both a compliment and a critique of 14 is that the expansions are very story driven, but it's not as if, say, Endwalker comes out, right, 6.0, that you can just jump straight into it as a newbie. You have to play Heavensward, Stormblood, and Shadowbringers to even experience it, where in WoW, from what I understand, when a new expansion drops, you have immediate access to that content.
They tend to give you a level up button. Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, 14 also has jump potions too, but they didn't originally.
The difference is that in World of Warcraft's case, they really push jumping into the expansion content directly to the point where they don't actually rebalance the old content. So a lot of the old content is just straight up broken. If you go through the World of Warcraft early game areas, you'll see these NPCs called trainers that are just hanging around, right?
Somebody give me something to do.
They used to be the means by which classes gained their skills. You would have to talk to a trainer after leveling up, and you would like pick the skills that you wanted to gain and all of that from the trainer. Now they don't do that. I hate these wall jumping sequences, by the way.
Well, the thing is, you're trying to boost.
I'm doing the same fucking thing.
Oh my god, you're fucking Tomb Raider in this shit.
I'm Super Mario Sunshining this shit, man. This is how I bypass that stupid poison river. I just jump along the edges. You absolutely can clear that mission by just jumping along the edges. By the way, it's just.
It takes forever. That's the thing. Like it's really safe, but it takes forever. It takes
forever, yes, but it takes less time than trying and failing to do it the regular way.
I mean, true gamers don't play it at all. If I'm doing like a regular ass playthrough of Sunshine where I don't have to worry about 100%ing it, I am not doing Poison River at all.
Yeah.
Well, because you don't have to get any shines in Delfino Plaza.
Yeah.
Look, the insidious thing about Super Mario Sunshine is that when you play it, you start off thinking, I'm just going to get the bare minimum and I'm going to finish the game. But then...
Yeah, because you played 64 and really enjoyed yourself. Then Sunshine's like, that's how we do
But then
things.
you play enough of Sunshine that you start enjoying yourself because it does have some legitimately enjoyable parts. And you start, actually going after the shines. And... in my case, at least, I always get to the Poison River before I come to my senses. So it's either the Poison River itself or the pachinko machine that snaps me out of it.
I know I'm the minority when I say that Sunshine is a better main campaign than 64. It sucks to 100% though. Like I will give 64 that. 64 benefits from the freedom you have in terms of like what shines you can get and just getting all the not shines, but the stars.
Well, the thing about 64 is that it feels like a really flaccid experience unless you go for completion, because like the actually going through the game at a minimum and fighting Bowser just isn't very rewarding because Bowser is terrible and the story is very minimal. So like the real, I wouldn't say you have to go for 100%, but the real meat of the game is in the exploration and finding all the like tokens and stuff.
I would say 64 shines in its improvisation, like leaving a lot to the player.
But like if you just do the bare minimum, you're skipping half the game's levels, and it doesn't really feel complete that way. So, yeah.
Meanwhile, in Sunshine, you have to do like every stage because you have to do the Shadow Mario missions.
How much do you want to bet that thing crashing down was what killed the dinosaurs? That's interesting. I didn't notice this before, but if you look at Earth in the background, you'll see like along one side of the planet there's lights as if half the fucking planet is covered in cityscape. What's that about, I wonder?
Good question. Well, I mean, there's nothing saying that Sonic's world is exactly like ours and civilization exactly grew as ours did.
No, I mean, it's a detail that doesn't fit the lore as this game presents it, because the Chaos Civilization is said by Eggman to be the oldest civilization, as in, it was there before any of the other civilizations. So at this point, all that should be on the planet, in terms of civilization, is the Starfall Islands, because the Chaos species never went beyond there. But there...
Well, Eggman could also just be wrong.
He could be wrong, but you're not going to see a planet covered in quite so much cityscape without leaving ruins behind. So, like, what is that about? Is that just a detail that they put in without thinking about it? It's interesting.
I would like to think it's that, but who can say?
I like how they have to say captured Reya Island because there is no completion on that island. You either do it or you don't.
Sonic has committed a serious error and has shut down.
Sonic the Hedgehog is blue screened to death.
Oh, that's a bad blue screen.
It doesn't even know what blue is. It keeps going between green and red. Oh no! He's turning into Asura.
My only regret is you denied me the pleasure of finishing you off.
I mean, you still can. You're still alive.
Say it quickly. The Glock.
I just got out. That was the whole point.
I like the idea that Sage has that, you know, getting Eggman into cyberspace will keep him safe. How? The fucking thing is gonna blow the planet up.
Did this thing just fucking yawn?
I don't know.
What was that noise?
Oh no, missing no.
I think the idea is that cyberspace is actually a different dimension and it isn't necessarily tied to the hardware on this island, but
No, yeah, I think it's specifically stated as a different dimension that the ancients created specifically to lock this thing
well,
up.
not specifically to lock this thing up. It was also used to contain a lot of other stuff. It's more like they had cyberspace already and they used cyberspace to seal this thing away.
Fuck, we gotta get rid of this. Anybody got a spare hard drive?
Okay, so guys, if we put our hands together and think positive thoughts, we can purify the Chaos Emeralds. I mean Sonic. And
We need Supersonic for we need Sonic and Supersonic for this. Knuckles, can't you go super?
Well, it ain't Super Amy that's gonna save the day.
Knuckles, can't you go super?
I think Tails' logic here is that, you know, Sonic has absorbed the energy of the Chaos Emerald so many times that he's basically a Chaos Emerald himself by now. So the same thing should work on him.
You are what you eat.
And then Sonic just terrestrializes like in Pokemon Violet and Scarlet.
Good lord. Like, now that I think about it, what if they just fucking do the Shantae DLC thing with the playable character sequence?
Lower everyone.
Like, what if they just give us a playable stage where they're curing Sonic of this illness?
Well, you know, it could be interesting, but I also think, like, applying that kind of idea to an open world would be interesting. Like, if you were to switch between Amy, Knuckles, and Tails, Sonic Heroes style, to overcome different open zone challenges.
Still don't want to.
What's the solution to our problem? The Chaos Emeralds. Oh, it's always the Chaos Emeralds.
Hey, look,
Stop.
at least we aren't fighting a giant genie with a shaving razor as a sword. Okay? Because that would... Look,
No, you made that up.
Eraser Jin's name makes more sense in British English, by the way, because I've heard like the way they pronounce eraser in British English in several books, and it usually does sound a lot like eraser. So,
It's Majin Buu to me with a razor.
okay, so here we are. The thing that makes me think that Reya Island, Kronos Island, and oh god, what was this island called? Oh, this island was Kronos Island.
I called it Fishing Island.
I think this island was Kronos Island. What
No, Kronos Island's the first
was
island.
the fifth island called? God damn it.
It started with an O.
Big fishing
Hold on.
adventure island.
I will not look this up. I will try to
So
remember.
Kronos Island, Reya Island, and Oreo Island here are are like part of the thing that makes me think they're the same landmass is because there's no transition at all that shows Sonic traveling to this island. He's just here.
Yeah, now that I think about it, did they ever show Sonic losing the emeralds in the fourth island?
No.
I think he.
No, because after you beat the boss, you're automatically sent to the fourth island. Like, even Tails is there with
I
you
think
for a
he
second.
was like unconscious at first, so it was implied.
I mean, it's a safe assumption at the very least. It's just that normally the game, sets it up twice that you lose the emeralds when you go to another island.
Yeah.
So like, why suddenly ignore that?
Yeah, it's weird.
Or was it Oranos or Oranos Island? I don't know how the fuck do you pronounce that.
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna keep calling it Oreo Island, thanks.
Oreo Island, yeah.
Okay, so the thing about this is that like the final acts of this game are clearly like really thrown together. Like they had a cool concept for the final boss, but they also presented it in the most graphically bland way you could imagine.
I just noticed that detail of that enemy. That was really creepy. So honestly, that enemy's dangerous by virtue of it'll drown you if you don't get it out fast enough. The silhouette inside of that gel looks like a starfish with an eye. It's very Starro, actually, now that I think about it. Yeah. Like, if you encounter that thing again, let's see if maybe we can get a better camera angle of that later, but I just noticed that now.
I'll definitely encounter it a few times. That's one of those enemies that's so easy to kill that I kill it every time I see it.
So, I agree that this island feels pretty slapdashed, as in it's just leftovers from the lack of incorporation. I will give it this, though. I think it has the best cyberspace stages in the game.
It does, yeah.
I think by virtue of all of them being original and not being ripped from another game.
Which is unfortunate because most players aren't going to see them. They're just going to
they're just gonna fish right past them. Yes.
Big old buddy, old pal.
This challenge is dumb, and you have to do it like 3 or 4 times on this island, where there's this orb that falls out of the sky, and you have to be underneath it before it hits the ground.
It's fucking volleyball.
It's not even because the orb just drops like, I don't know, a really hastily edited clip in Premiere. It has a single set speed that it moves at, is what I'm saying. Okay, so
also Sage does not have her own unique memory token. It's just hearts again from Amy.
Yeah, it's weird.
What would you make her memory token if you had the choice?
Computer chips.
You got a computer chip? Eggman emblem.
Maybe. Definitely not hearts, though.
Yeah.
It's like hearts make sense for Amy because that's part of her aesthetic. She's really pink and girly, and when she swings her hammer, there are hearts that pop out of it.
Well, she was a bit vain, like it was just the shape of her head.
It's just weird because like all the memory tokens for the other characters have something to do with who they are and what they've been doing. Like Knuckles are his resistance medals from forces. Tails is his wrench because he's the Tinkerer sidekick.
I completely forgot about this guy.
This is an annoying boss because like depth perception is a bit difficult. Also, these particular like things that you need to hit are actually between the rails, so you need to time your rail switch to hit them.
Well, some of them are between rails anyway.
Well, the ones that were on screen when I said that, I meant like that particular wave was between rails.
Oh God! Please let me one cycle this guy.
Please,
that's what I say to myself.
One cycle, please. No, I dodged out of the way. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to dodge out of the way. Help! It's actually hard to stay locked onto this particular enemy for some reason.
If you got him, so that's all that matters.
I think it's because the lock-on point is that particular weak point, and every so often you just get off angle enough that you lose the lock-on. Oh no.
Force 2D section.
It's always like the boost pads that do it too.
That's why I tend to like, especially like starting with the third island. You get one of those treasure chests that you side loop. If it's a ramp, fuck it. I'm not bothering because I know exactly what's gonna happen. That's what I want to see. Like I want to see memory tokens up the wazoo.
I don't have enough keys, so I have to leave the Chaos Emerald behind. The thing about Island 5 is that it just drops you in and doesn't really give you direction at all the way the other islands do. You don't have anyone to free. You're just looking for the Chaos Emeralds. There's very little in the way of mandatory story cutscenes here.
It's weird because, like, before the island begins proper, you start an alliance with Eggman, so he helps to look for the Chaos Emeralds himself. He doesn't, by the way, spoiler warning, he only finds one.
Maybe it's a nod to that one Chaos Emerald that he had at the end of Sonic 1 8-bit.
Oh, like before, like to justify why there's only 6 emeralds in Sonic 1?
No, in Sonic 1 8-bit Master System, he had the
okay,
last emerald with him. I think it was Sonic 1.
I don't remember the plot of 8-bit Sonic 1.
Well, he had a Chaos Emerald with him in the final boss, so you had to get all the others before you got there.
Maybe it was, wait, are you sure you're not thinking of Triple Trouble? Or Chaos?
He might have also done that in that.
Yeah. Because I remember one of those games starting with you like chasing him, and he had an emerald already in his possession.
Sonic 1 Master System. Well, because the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 1 Master System, you had to find all around the levels, you know.
Yeah.
So I think the 6th one was with
It was up Eggman's ass.
Yeah.